Hello and thank you for joining us on the first edition of Journalist Hangouts. I'm Ayodele Ozugbakun. Babajide Kolade-Otitoju is in the house, making his debut for the year 2020. You know, I saw you sometime around last year, and you told me emphatically that you were going to spend 3 weeks. Lo and behold, you ended up spending all your halls. You didn't even remember us, Babajide.
I remember in my prayers. I remember.
So we welcome you, BKO.
Thank you. Thank you.
After 3 weeks.
It's good to be on leave.
I saw your fan page. I saw a lot of comments. Everybody saying they can't wait for you to be back.
Yes, but I'm sure they also realize the value of getting yourself refreshed.
Yes, sir.
You know, so that's what I've done. I've gone to refuel.
Okay.
Like an American air tanker. You know, the same way the Israelis refueled when they were bombing Iraq in 1981. And thank God for the bombing of Iraq. We do not have a country in the Middle East that has nuclear capability as we speak.
And Wale Adeoye is also in the building. Wale, yeah. Now, today on the program, Supreme Court affirms Ganduje as duly elected governor of Kano State as Tambuwal Mohammed Ortom survive Southwest governor insists they will not be blackmailed over Amotekun security initiative as Atiku orders back outfits. Nigerians condemn Governor Wike for derogatory comments on traditional rulers in a viral video. And later on the show, Liverpool beat Manchester United to 16 points clear on the EPL League. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade-Otitoju and Wale Adeoye. So if you are ready, let the hangout start now. We'll start on this light note. He is two-time heavyweight champion of the world, but Nigerian-born British boxer Anthony Joshua, they call him Anthony Olasheni Joshua, is one who constantly connects with his roots. Joshua set tongues wagging last week when he prostrated for President Muhammadu Buhari in London. Let's share the moment with you.
I started doing my own research on a lot of the connections between Africa as a whole, as a continent, not just countries. I know we're Nigeria focused, but Africa as a whole, because we're all one people to a certain degree, and it's amazing to hear what I'm connected with. So even though I'm running my own track in boxing, to sit here amongst you great people, Your Excellency, and to listen to some of the achievements and visions that you have for Nigeria makes me feel proud. And I do strongly feel for us kids in the UK that I've swayed a bit from our heritage and our culture. If you want to know where you're going, you have to know where you're coming from. I really strongly believe that.
I actually promised Honorable Akbike Dabiri I was going to do this to showcase our culture, and that's the chairman of Diaspora Commission. Babajide, Yoruba people will say Iwariri Leshuenio, and at that point in time when I saw this, I was really touched.
Yes, I was really impressed, and I remember one of my friends on Facebook, Mrs. Ochene Opalua, saying the person who brought up Joshua has done an excellent job of bringing someone up. Because if this boy was based in the UK and he still behaves like a real culture ambassador of our country,
Shagamites,
then you know that this is someone who was properly raised. When you're properly raised, you know how to greet elders. You know, you don't stand ramrod straight before an old man. Whether that old man is the president or it doesn't matter. But he greeted the president the way a well-brought-up boy is expected to greet a grandfather. You know, so
Wale,
I'm impressed.
That's one of the beauty of they call them Omoluabi.
Yes, I think it's consistent with Joshua's posture, even in victory. you see the way, you know, we embrace his opponent, you know, not in a very arrogant manner. So I think it has to do with parentage, and it's quite impressive. I think he's a great ambassador of Africa, and he should be encouraged.
Now, the tension generated before the Supreme Court verdict on 4 governorship appeals is now punctured, and we are back to the basis. The appeals regarding the election of Governor Ganduje of Kano, Aminu Tambuwal of Sokoto, Bala Mohammed of Bauchi, and Samuel Ortom of Benue State were all resolved in favor of the incumbents. Ganduje was the first to be left off the hook when the 7-man panel of the Apex Courts, headed by Chief Justice of Nigeria, that's Tanko Mohammed, dismissed the appeal by the candidates of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Abba Yusuf. Babajide, last week, it was really, really tough. The tension was high. But a lot of Nigerians, they were talking about Tambuwal and the governor of Sokoto State and maybe the Benue State, that they're counting down. As of yesterday, I thought the fate of Tambuwal, the fate that befell Emeka Ihedioha was going to befall Tambuwal. But, you know, in law, anything can happen.
Well, it depends on the facts before the judges. I saw people making all kinds of posts, looking at the margin of victory, you know, Tambuwal's victory, looking at the margin of Kauran Bauchi, Bala Mohammed's victory over the APC candidate, and looking at the margin of Ortom's victory, you know, compared to the number of cancelled votes. And I'm like, our people are trying to give the impression that it is now a crime to cancel votes. If votes are illegally acquired, the organizer of the election has all the powers in the world to cancel those votes. So the fact that votes that were not recorded in Hope Uzodima's favor were eventually given to him did not mean that in all situations, in all cases,
it applies.
That the matter will be resolved in a similar manner. It doesn't matter. Tambuwal defeated his opponent by, I think, 342 votes or so. But it doesn't matter. If he validly defeated him, even with 1 vote, then he deserves to continue as governor. So when I saw those things and the predictions that were being made, that, oh, Tambuwal is going home, this person is going home, I'm like, what is going on? What is going on? The judges would decide based on the facts before them, based on the evidence before them, based on what you pleaded, you know, based on what the appellant pleaded before them. So this is the thing.
I think you spoke about this, the Sokoto battle earlier. Let's our producer just place the tape back, and we'll be right back.
One would now also want to look at the context that all politics are local. The assembly election will be part of the governorship election. Sokoto people will vote for persons alongside parties on Saturday.
Do you agree with the line of thought of Dari?
Well, the presidential election in Sokoto can be compared to what's coming on Saturday. In the whole of the north, the performance of PDP in Sokoto was the best. They scored 41% in Sokoto, and not many people expected it. But I remember saying it here, that PDP thinks that they can take at least 40% in Sokoto, and it's down to Tambuwal's work. The margin of victory was just for Buhari against Atiku was about 130,000 in Sokoto. That is the lowest margin in the far north. That should tell you. Now, and there are those who will not vote for him, who will vote for Tambuwal. You see, Tambuwal is an incumbent governor. It's not easy to defeat an incumbent governor. In northern Nigeria, it's not easy to defeat an incumbent governor. Even if you are contesting against someone who made you. I fancy Tambuwal's chances of retaining that seat as the sitting governor.
that was okay.
Elections were cancelled in so many polling units in the state. In fact, the polling units are spread through up to 22, I think, of the 23 local governments in the state. So it's like starting, doing a fresh election. So, and that is the keenest contest we have seen so far, because the margin of Governor Tambuwal's lead is slim.
Very slim.
It's slim.
3,413.
It's very slim, and he has a lot to fight for.
Absolutely.
He has a lot to fight for. I projected that he will win, despite the fact that many people say so much about Wamako. I fancy his chances of winning the election. I still think he will win the election. I'm confident that he will win the election.
So months after, that was before, a week before the election, the governorship election, and when it went to a rerun, that was just some days to that particular rerun. Wale Adeoye, what do you make of this? Those states that the Supreme Court resolved today, Kano, Sokoto, and Bauchi states?
Well, one thing we must know is that the Supreme Court has the final say. So the verdicts are irreversible. The opponents should accept. They have no option anyway. They have to accept.
It doesn't matter if you
it doesn't matter.
But
But if you look at what happened in Kano, the verdict has been consistent right from the lower court, the tribunal, the court of appeal. The judges overwhelmingly took the same position. And if you look at what actually happened in that state too, in Kano, you have about 100,000 plus 100,373 cancelled votes, which was more than the Virgin in the first election. So when there was a rerun, Ganduje went back into the drawing board. He was able to mend fences, and he was able to use that opportunity to, to launch a comeback. So with the gap that he was able to record during the rerun election, I think that was on that basis that the Supreme Court had to, validate his election. Why the PDP was arguing that they should hinge the government on the first election that, Abba Yusuf had more votes than. So since there was a supplementary election, that was the election that the Supreme Court relied on. So I think if you look at what happened in Kano, for me, I was expecting that Ganduje would win, and I was not surprised.
That's saying that the Supreme Court is final, not because it is infallible, but it is infallible because it is final. And a lot of people, they are still reacting to what happened last week. And Imo State is still in the front burner, saying that we have protests all over town. In Imo State, people are coming out to protest. I can tell you that I saw Uche Secondus and Peter Obi around the Eagle Square today, and they've been protesting. What do you make of that verdict?
Well, I didn't attend the trials, but I know that at the appeal court, at the appeals tribunal, there was a minority judgment in favor of Hope Uzodinma. The Supreme Court judges must have felt that there was merit in the appeal court judgment. You see, politicians do all kinds of things to win. Sometimes they generate results of their own. Sometimes they do other things to win. They even kill to win. But as far as the judges were concerned, the results that Hope Uzodinma presented at the appeals tribunal and the result that a policeman affirmed was genuine, those judges felt that the result was genuine, and they resolved the matter in favor of Hope Uzodinma. And that's not the first time. That's not the first time that will happen. So it's, there's no point crying over spilled milk. The deed has been done. The Supreme Court has given its verdict. There's nothing anyone can do about it.
Nothing.
Hope Uzodinma is governor of Imo State, at least for the next 4 years. The Supreme Court, people are asking questions, and will the Supreme Court reverse itself? It's a waste of time to think that Supreme Court can refuse can refuse to go with an earlier precedent, a judgment handed down by it. You understand?
Yeah.
They may not use that judgment as precedent, but the Supreme Court will never overturn an earlier judgment that it gave. Remember people like Anduba,
I remember.
they wanted the Supreme Court to overturn its own judgment. But the Supreme Court is not an appellate court, it's a final court. So it's ridiculous to expect the Supreme Court to change its mind and say, oh, that judgment we made was wrong. The best that they can do is to not cite it in future in deciding a matter. If they realize that a mistake was made, they will not use that as precedent. That's their own way of doing it. But to expect them to say, oh, we gave this judgment, we were wrong. Now, this is another judgment on the same matter. It's not going to happen. So those who think that, even if people protest from now till Jesus Christ returns to earth, it will not change anything. That decision has been made. And I think the point has also been made with the judgment in Sokoto that it is not true that the APC was trying to use the courts to take back all of the states that it lost. It didn't take back Bauchi. It didn't take back Sokoto. It didn't take back Benue. It didn't take back Adamawa. These were states that APC was in control of them, and they lost. So it shows clearly that some of those comments were just comments made by people who are desperate to give the judiciary a bad name. And the fact has also been made that with the victory of Sokoto, which I predicted 2 times, that even if it's with 1 point or one vote, if you validly won an election, you can still win in court. Nobody will reverse your victory because the margin was narrow.
Wale, your last take on this?
Well, we need to respect the judgment of the Supreme Court. Otherwise, we are going to have anarchy. So those who have lost out should go and prepare for the next 4 years for another election.
2023.
Yeah.
All right. It appears the dust raised over the launch of the Southwest Security Initiative, Amotekun, is rising and rising. But the initiators, the 6 Southwest governors, have insisted that they will not be blackmailed into submission over the outfits. Chairman of the Southwest Governors Forum, Rotimi Akeredolu, in a statement by his Commissioner for Information, that Donald Ojogo, said the initiative is neither a regional nor an ethnic agenda. He advised against divisive utterances capable of compromising the genuine intentions of the governors. Meanwhile, more Nigerians are backing the governors, including Nigeria's former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who said the time is ripe for the introduction of state, zonal, and community policing to complement efforts of the federal police. Babajide, is Amotekun really necessary?
Extremely necessary. Extremely necessary. And I'm happy that one of our friends from the north posted something on Twitter that instead of us to find a way to stop bandits who are moving from Niger to Zamfara to Kaduna to Katsina, killing people as if the art of killing people has become a sport, we are busy attacking people over Amotekun. I just don't understand Nigerians, especially the politicians. They are the ones who want to destroy our country. The selfishness of the Nigerian politician is legendary. I don't think you can find any place in this world where politicians are as selfish as they are in Nigeria. Because this whole thing is just politics. It's just politicizing this whole idea. Yeah. When these guys came up with the idea of Amotekun, many people supported it. The IG was firmly in the picture.
The conference in the south, in Ibadan.
Yeah. The IG was firmly in the picture. They were briefing him every step of the way. Suddenly, a few days on the eve of the launch, the IG started calling the governors, trying to prevail on them to not go ahead with the launching. something that they've briefed you, you made input.
You were part of that meeting in Ibadan.
Yes, you made input. Policemen, we have policemen. I just don't want to embarrass. There is an AIG. I can play his tape where I was saying, we thank you that this thing will really help the police, this and that. Policemen, commissioners of police, we know commissioners of police who were excited about this idea. Why should anyone be opposed to an idea that is meant to complement the efforts of the police? Are we happy with the way the security agencies have mismanaged security in our country? Just today, Boko Haram took over Damaturu, Maiduguri Road, and people were running helter-skelter. They've been on that road consistently, kidnapping people and going ahead to behead them. On Christmas Day, they beheaded people. Oh, have we forgotten? Not only that, look at what is happening in Kaduna State. People are now being killed as if it is the sport. And we are powerless. We are unable to do anything. Niger State, especially in the Shiroro area, is the worst in the country now in terms of security. The rate at which bandits are killing people. We thought that, okay, we finally found a solution in Katsina. But they've gone back to killing people. To the point that the secretary of the government of the state now said, oh, we are giving 48-hour ultimatum. You must come and make peace. Even in Zamfara, the bandits are still running riot. We cannot tame them. We have now resorted to making peace with criminals. In our country, they killed his daughter in this southwest. They killed the daughter of the Yoruba leader, Baba Fashoranti. Up till now, we have no clue about how to catch the people who caused that to happen. Whether that is deliberate or not deliberate, we do not know. But we deserve to be better protected in our country. And that is the vision behind Amotekun. If there are mistakes, if there are things that they need to do, as decent people, we are supposed to tell them, oh, you left this one out, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? So that they can work with the police. But that's not what we are suddenly, something that people were excited about. It took a few individuals to be bad-mouthing some of the sponsors of the thing. You can imagine if Osun State can come out with 50 vehicles as part of the 120 for the first phase. That should tell you how determined Osun is to secure his people. There is no way Governor Yetola can say that he's not fully involved in this. From the beginning, Governor Yetola was involved. Whether some governors chose not to attend it, I know a governor who was already in Ibadan before he made a U-turn.
On the day of the...
Yes, and then decided to send deputy. It doesn't matter. You are involved. From the beginning, you were involved. Lagos was involved. So if you choose to play politics with the lives of people, we were the ones who were saying that, why can't the Southwest states come together and defeat insecurity in their states? We want them to look inwards, to find money to run their states. We want them to look inwards, to not be going to Abuja to collect so-called handouts. But we don't want them to look inward to defend their people. It's absolutely absurd. Whereas the Constitution underlines the fact that the protection of people is not in the hands of the police alone. See, neither the Constitution in section 214 to 216, or the Police Act in section 10 gives the police exclusive duty of securing lives and property. It means that the police alone have not been mandated to protect lives. Other people can protect. Even you can arrest and hand over the person that you've arrested. So what is the issue?
Now, part of the issue that the Attorney General raised, how can we ensure Amotekun does not break the law? Because we don't know their modus operandi, we don't know if they're going to carry arms. And this, the Attorney General is saying, is the exclusive preserve of the Nigerian police, or anything that has to do with any paramilitary organization has to be in the exclusive list of the federal government.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
That they can't carry arms?
That they can't carry arms.
Okay, do hunters not carry their guns? Do the police not license guns to people?
Individuals.
To individuals? Did he say that? I didn't read him say that. But if he said that, well, that's ridiculous.
But if they are going to be carrying arms...
People people acquire guns. And those guns are licensed, they do sport, killing partridges and the rest. It's permitted. There's no law that says only the police can have a gun. No. It is in fact, what the police said initially was, no, we will not permit you to carry AK-47. Because you can carry them gun.
Wale?
Well, I think it's so obvious because the Attorney General is not a court of law. The action has been committed. They have done the launching. So if the Attorney General is not happy, the next thing is to go to court. But we need to be very sensitive. You see, when this problem started in the Northeast, we were viewing those problems with contempt, that, you know, it will not spread. Gradually, it moved to Middle Belt. From Middle Belt to Northwest. Nobody ever imagined in this country that an MI will be laid and attacked. But it's happening right in our eyes. So do you now think the Southwest people should just watch and let what is happening in the Northwest also be their own fate? So I think what the governors have done is proactive. And for the Attorney General to be saying that they might be misuse weapons and all that, I think it's just trying to insult the people of the Southwest. Because the police misuses arms, DSS misuses arms. What is important is training, which Amotekun, the people that are behind Amotekun have said they will train their personnel. How many people are we talking about? Each state is producing about 250, which is not even up to the entire policemen in Yanokpaja. And we are making all this noise. So, and if you look at what we are talking about, there are so many things that are happening in the Southwest now. People are trying to give a very wrong narrative that Amotekun is about, chasing herdsmen. The idea of Amotekun started in 2012 when Don wrote this